Okay, hello, welcome back to another game of chess. Today we are playing c5 against the move e4, a Sicilian defense, of course. We're going to go for our hyper-accelerated dragon ideas, perhaps even a pterodactyl if we see the move d4 here. Obviously, bishop c4, absolutely fine. I will continue with my very speedy fianchetto. This can transpose into some like King's Indian lines, I think, which I'm honestly not that familiar with. I'm just quite happy at the moment with playing against e4 like this. I quite like fighting for that d4 square from a distance with the bishop and, you know, natural development with the knights. Maybe at some point we can go for a nice queenside expansion with a6, b5, and obviously a little idea of trapping the bishop with bishop b3 and c4. However, they go d5. That makes sense, which by I mean d4, that is not d5. I think we take here. I could also play knight c6, and if you push, I could go here, and if you take, I could go here. But then you push this, and I have to move back, and you've got a huge center, and I've achieved basically nothing, so let's take. Okay, nice little deductive process there. They will, of course, take with a knight, unless they play c3. Okay, I thought they might try and transpose into a Smith-Mora, but apparently not. Knight c6 here, mounting further pressure on the knight. Bishop e3 is a likely move to see here. Develops the bishop, holds the knight, but they take. Now, this is not really recommended, I don't believe. When playing against the Sicilian, you've got this knight on d4. There's like really often this tension between a knight on d4 and a knight on c6 because of that sort of open Sicilian fight for the d4 square. You don't want to take here as white. And I think the reason is that we now have a c-pawn where there was not a c-pawn before. And we've already traded our c-pawn for your d-pawn. So if you look at the sort of, just purely thinking about the pawns here, we've traded a flank pawn for a center pawn, then regained the flank pawn to perhaps be traded for the other center pawn to leave us with two central pawns, a dominant central control. And although it's not anything hugely meaningful yet, it could very easily manifest into some meaningful spatial advantage in the center, and it might just make it a little harder for white to create play. Although, as with any line where you've pushed the c-pawn, you know, a Caro-Kann, a Sicilian, I can't believe I just said the phrase Caro-Kann without throwing up. But as with any of these lines, Queen b6 is a potential resource. Now, Queen b6, we are threatening to take here, win the pawn. But actually, after knight here, we're not winning a rook. And also, Queen b6, just bishop e3. And then eventually, they're just going to hit me with bishop e3. So I think we should probably just play knight f6. Develop pretty normally. Castle, obviously kingside. We are not castling into an open b file. That is for sure. Although they do have the move e5, which I have only just considered possible. What is wrong with me? This is where I sack a pawn, just for the culture, and play bishop a6. Oh, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. We're going to sack a pawn to get the bishop pair. Not that that was calculated. I'm not claiming that that was actually a well-made decision. But bishop a6 now. We activate the bishop with tempo on the rook. We also obviously defend our rook by allowing the queen to defend it. That was the main point of moving this bishop. The rook moves. Okay, I am sort of happy that we have a bishop pair. I'm not very happy that I'm down a pawn. However, a move like queen b6 now, I guess just bishop e3, but then if bishop e3 we take here. Queen b6 hangs a rook instantly and loses the game. So instead, let's just castle. Although, if I castle, there might be the move e6, kind of a freaky move. Takes, queen takes, rook takes. There's a passed c-pawn involved in there somewhere. Although I'm kind of willing to play that endgame. Right, let's just castle. I don't really want to play e6 first, because then we give the queen, you know, squares like d6. I think the less pawns we push, the better for our rock-solid defense we've got going on here. And queen b6 with maybe bishop b7 is going to be a potentially very exciting resource to employ. Getting the rooks on maybe the b and c files even. And really trying to get some activity down these two open files. Okay. Queen b6. Bang. If you move the bishop, I will be taking your pawn. We obviously had to castle first because this rook needed to be held. So this pawn is... Oh, that is my alarm to get my chicken out of the oven. And I've hung a pawn. It's one of of those less than ideal positions where you're down a pawn and your chicken Kievs are burning. Let's just play rook d8, give up another pawn, rook e8. I need to win this game in the next like 2 minutes, otherwise my chicken's gonna burn. Okay, that's how we're gonna win it. We're gonna win it by just activating everything. Yes, please. We have open everything. Okay, they move the queen back. That's annoying because it defends this, which was a potentially scary thing. But hello. Let's grab this pawn. Okay. I mean, my chicken is in the oven and it's gonna burn. Never has there been such an incentive to win a game quickly as there is now. Bishop's still immobilized because if I take this, not only is that a free pawn, but it isolates both of these pawns, making them very weak, and makes this bishop just an absolutely godlike piece. So what? They sack their rook. Wow. Okay, yeah, I think we're going to be winning very quickly. They move their bishop with tempo on my rook to defend the back rank mate threat. But what if I just do this? Bang. Now we're up on material. Oh, and if you go rook here, I can sack my queen and then mate you on e1. Are you serious? Oh, let's go get my chicken. Let's go get my chicken. I'll be back in a second. And here we are with the chicken Kievs on the baking tray still, as I now, for the first time ever, undertake a mukbang analysis. Well, ladies and gentlemen, 94% accuracy with 2 inaccuracies, one of which was playing our opening, which is a predetermined, I mean, we chose to play this, of course, determined by myself, but this is the hyper-accelerated dragon, an established bit of theory, played nearly 10,000 times in the Masters database. That's just a pretty sweet game. I mean, we've got the engine on here, takes here. We are actually still in the Masters database. And taking is actually the top move there. Wow. Although it does well for black in general. Okay. Knight f6, e5, knight e5, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. Now, instead of rook b8, which is ostensibly the best move, we went for bishop a6. Rook moves, then I castle. Here, queen b6. Hang my pawn, and this is when I realized that my chicken, which I'm now going to take another bite of. This is when I realized that it needed cooking, and so we just decided to keep sacrificing, pick this up, and our opponent just makes a mistake here. Takes, bishop here, queen takes b2, sack the queen and checkmate. I mean, that is what you get when you just have the most viciously open and aggressive bishop pair. Rooks on literally the E and D files. No more quintessential, well-placed rooks can you get. The queen on b6, on the same diagonal as the king, putting pressure on f2, supporting the rook on d8, and putting pressure on b2. b6 is a great place for a black queen. I mean, our opponent had to go for like knight e4, and then apparently f6 was the best move. But what if we took here? Then takes, oh, and the fork, okay. And so, I mean, yeah, we get a quick win. And kind of a nice tactic as well to sack the queen, to soften up that back rank, because d1 and e1 were both checkmates. But yeah, that is beautiful stuff. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I know this was a shorter video, maybe not, a very insightful and in-depth game, but it's kind of amusing that I had to go cook my chicken and, we just decided to win the game and it happened. Sometimes all you gotta do is believe that you're gonna win and your opponent will crumble under the sheer psychological pressure of knowing that you are so confident. Now, some of you may ask, how would that psychological pressure be conveyed over thousands of miles potentially when you're playing online chess against someone who is probably not in the same country as you? To that I would say, do not ask stupid questions, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.